Good evening, everyone. We'll wait a few minutes until we can start, as usual. Just testing to see if everything is going according to the plan. Yeah, I'm live. Facebook is all right. Thing is according to the plan. Just trying to. Where's that? Can you guys hear me all right? Again, I'll be looking. That will be interesting. So if you guys can hear me all right, if you can perhaps say yes in the comments, please, if you can hear me all right, so I know that you are hearing me. The worst thing is it's interesting that 5 past 7. It's interesting that my Instagram, just came now. Yeah, that's good. And probably there's a little bit of delay when it is a live session. So probably when I ask a question, you guys probably have a delay, anything between 15 seconds, a minute, which is a shame, but that's all right. So welcome everyone, and welcome to another Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube live session. And tonight, this is session number 44. Wow, 44 live sessions every week, pretty much. It's been already 40 weeks that I've been doing these live sessions every week. So thinking that a year has 52 weeks, 40 weeks is certainly a very good effort. And I would like to thank you guys for your audience. I would like to thank you for your participation. And tonight, it's a bit different. The subject is a bit different that I'm going to talk about. Usually I talk about the validation process. I talk about the day-to-day of an engineer here in Australia. But tonight I'm going to talk about how to get a professional job in Australia. Well, one of the themes, how to get a professional job in Australia. Who am I to talk about how to get a professional job in Australia? Well, I've been working as a professional in Australia since 2005 or 5. So it's been already nearly 14, 15 years that I'm working as a professional in Australia, and I've been recruiting a lot of professionals. I've been recruiting a lot of engineers. I've been recruiting a lot of project managers. So I face these challenges, and I see candidates that are overqualified. And some of them, they deal correctly when they are considered to be overqualified, but others, they don't. And I had the same issue in the beginning when I was trying to get a professional job in Australia when I arrived from Brazil. In Brazil, I had a very good job. I had a very good position where I was working in Brazil. And starting with the Australian market was really, really a challenge until I had to change a few things in the way that I was applying, in the way that I was behaving myself, in the way that I was writing my career episodes. So tonight, I will be talking about this common issue for many, many people, perhaps you, while hunting for a professional job in Australia, which is to be considered as an overqualified professional. But first, for those that don't know me, my name is Gerson Ida. I've seen some new names that I haven't seen before, so I'll introduce myself. I'm Gerson Ida. I'm a Brazilian civil engineer. In this beginning of my project, Engineers in Australia, I was doing everything in Portuguese, but then I decided to start in English, although English is not my mother language, but my audience grew, and I've got a lot of engineers that from different nationalities, so I've decided to do in English. So I'm the founder of the website www.engineersinaustralia.com, a website to share valuable content and useful information to assist you in your journey to validate your engineering qualification here in Australia. And also I share the day-to-day of an engineer. I discuss subjects about, for example, workplace health and safety, environmental management, which are very, very important for the engineer, and also about the job opportunities and how to get a professional job in Australia as well. And if you stay until the end, I will give you a free ebook that I wrote about the 10 challenges that most overseas engineers they face when they arrive in Australia. Just check if any messages now. And if you have any particular question about engineering or about the validation process or about how to get a professional job in Australia, please send your questions in the comments. I'll go back to your question. I don't know your name, Gizzy Moy, must be Guy Simões, but I will go back to that question soon. And also, I would like to thank my audience. I would like to thank you for the awesome 11 days of engineering qualification, which is my free workshop that I promoted from 2 weeks ago. It was 11 days of full content and information that I hope that have helped many engineers to get closer to, obviously, your dream of becoming a recognized engineer in Australia. And I had live sessions, I had webinars, I wrote article in my blog, I brought partners, I had migration agents, I had a translator. Hi, Daniel. I had translator that came to us. I had education agencies that participated in the event. And also I'd like to thank for those ones that decided to give a step forward and enrolled in my online mentoring program, the Validation Formula. I look forward to meeting with you all in our first class on this coming Saturday, 9th of May at 9 a.m. Brisbane time. So my online mentoring program was open until yesterday, Saturday, and I closed enrollments, and I'm happy that I've got some people enrolled, and I will be able to help them to get closer to their dream, to write a very strong and solid CDR, which will have better chances to be approved by Engineers Australia. And if you didn't enroll or are not ready yet to start your journey towards the validation, please keep following my content and check my videos in my YouTube and my IGTV, Instagram TV. I will start probably, or I started this week to publish some very short videos in my Instagram TV, IGTV. They probably going to be 1 to 5 minute videos, so very easy for you to consume, a content that is very easy for you to consume. This particular week, I published a post answering one question, and that question was about a master's degree. So if you are doing, or if you have done a master's degree in Australia, if you can go to my IGTV and have a look, I talk about what do you get when you finish your master's degree here in Australia. And so, and I believe that if you follow my profile in Instagram, you will be notified when I publish a new video there. I'm planning to publish a very short video pretty much every week, and also I'm posting question and answers in Instagram and Facebook as well, about particular topics of the questions that people ask me during the 11 days of engineering qualification validation workshop. So please keep following my social profile, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you will be notified with the content. So without further ado, we'll start with the content. And it's very common to hear that such candidate did not succeed in the job interview because he or she or you was considered to be overqualified. And mainly for us Brazilians engineers, and certainly for other overseas engineers who, as a rule, you finish high school, then you attend university, and then shortly after your graduation, you probably do a post-graduation degree or a master's degree, an MBA, whatever, or a doctorate. So it's very common that when you come to Australia after a few years of graduation, you come already with this academic background. You finish your high school, you finish your university, and also you have a specialization, a master's or a doctorate. But what does it mean to be overqualified? Any particular guessing from the audience that is watching? What do you think is to be considered to be overqualified? If you, I'll give you 20 seconds if you want to participate. And while I'll read the question here from Guy. Yeah, Guy Simões, I believe, he asked a very good question. He asked a question about, well, he's put in Portuguese, but I'll translate. His question is, he's just moved to Australia 1 month ago. What are the first steps to validate his diploma as a mechanical engineer? So that's a very good question. I'll come back to that a little bit later on, Guy. I've got a few content to distribute tonight, and once I finish, I'll go back to the question. I'll open for more questions. If you have questions, please send me your questions in the comments, and I will be certainly more than willing to respond. So what does it mean to be overqualified? We just have more qualifications than necessary. It's that simple. So when you get to Australia, we find ourselves in a situation where we have succeeded in winning all the stages prior to the interview. So you prepared your curriculum vitae, your resume, together with your cover letter. You've applied for a job, and then the recruitment agency or the company, they rang you, and they say, yeah, sorry, but your application is very good. Some people say that, others not. If you ask for a feedback, because usually they say that you've been unsuccessful, but you can ask for a feedback. They might say to you, sorry, but I believe that you are overqualified. You've got more qualifications than we actually need. In Facebook, John saying academic credentials too high. Yes, it can be. It can be academic credentials too high, or it could be also that your work experience is too high. Perhaps you were a manager in a company, and then you are applying for a lower position. And then people may think that you are overqualified because you used to be a manager for many, many years, and now you're applying for a lower position job. So, and this can be, and this is very frustrating because you know that you could perform the role very, very well, especially with your extra capabilities and qualities, and you could be a great asset to the company. After all, having more qualifications than the job needs would not be a bad thing, would it? Well, but some for some of the employers and recruitment agencies, maybe it is a bad thing. But why employers do not like overqualified professionals? So when the panel when the panel of interviewers they mark a candidate as overqualified, there are a few reasons why they probably do this. First, they might mark you as overqualified because companies they cannot pay according to your expectation. They read your resume and they see that you've been working as a manager or as a director, for example, for many years, and then you apply for a lower position. But because you've been working in a higher position, they think that your salary expectation is going to be higher than what they are offering. So even willing to accept, and usually when you try to get our professional job, even our first professional job, we are willing to accept a smaller pay than we possibly deserve, because we want to have the experience of working in the Australian market. It's very important for us overseas professionals to have an Australian experience. But because of our extra qualification and experiences, our salary expectation can be perceived as higher than the company can offer to us. Let's see, Gustavo, he sent a message in Instagram. Job role as technician or fresh graduate, but you have many years of experience as an engineer. Yes, that can be a situation that, thanks Gustavo for your comment. It can be a situation where if you are applying as a technician or just a graduate and you are an experienced engineer, people can perceive you as being overqualified, although you may have, for example, just your engineering graduation degree. But if you have years of experience and you apply for a graduate position or technician, they might well think that you are overqualified and may not even interview you. So, and I'm going to talk tonight about some of the things that you could do so you can overcome a little bit of this issue there. Another reason why companies, they mark you as overqualified is that sometimes the companies, they think that you probably did not understand what the work really is. So employers will think that in your journey to get a job, you are being very optimistic with the function to be recruited. You may be thinking that you'll be performing engineering management duties, when in fact the function is to be an assistant engineer, or as Gustavo says, as a graduate or a technician. So although you have a really and clear understanding that the job is for a graduate or a technician or an assistant engineer, companies may think that you didn't quite understand that the job is at that level. Also, companies, they might think if you are hired, you will be bored, full-blown even. So many of us have worked in senior positions. If you come to Australia with a little bit of age, like myself, when I came to Australia, I had already like 12 years or 10 years of graduation. So I had worked in a lot of senior positions and functions in my country of origin, Brazil. I worked as a manager, I worked as a director, I worked as deputy director general as well in some executive positions. And this is going to be in your CV. And employers, they think that because you were accustomed to more responsible and complex roles and jobs, when working with simpler things, like if you're working as a graduate or a technician or assistant engineer, it is assumed that you get upset very, very quickly, frustrated, and you'll be less productive. So that's another reason. The fourth reason, it could be that companies, they mark you as overqualified because you are not going to be happy to have a work or have to work for a boss with less experience and qualifications than you. So if you have more experience and qualifications than who is actually hiring you, this person will be or could be worried that you might not be comfortable in receiving instructions from this person, and that you know better how to do their job than her or him. So if this person is not quite sure of their own competencies, these people, they might think that you too can doubt about the decisions they make, which may lead them not to kind of select you as the chosen candidate. And the fifth reason what I think companies, they mark you as overqualified, you will move on, leaving as soon as something better, another job offer appears. So employers usually do not understand why people would subject themselves to a lower position than they would be able to work because of their qualifications and experiences. So we got to remember that if we are the recruitment panel, they are not overseas people. They probably haven't got this or haven't experienced this issue before. So in their mind, may not be very, very acceptable to receive somebody's resume of a certain level, when in fact they can actually work on a very much higher level. So they assume that you are only interested in this job because you're really, really desperate. And once a position that pays better, or you can better utilize your qualification and experiences appears, you will apply for that vacancy and leave the company. So these are pretty much the five things that I think that people, they mark uh, candidates as overqualified. And then I'm now going to talk about what do you need to do when we hear that we are overqualified. Well, the best thing is to understand the side of the employer and deal with them face to face. You can do this by explaining why you are genuinely interested in the job, that you are a newcomer to Australia, and that a less complex job will help you better understand the Australian system, and that the goal is to grow with the company. With regard to salary expectation, that's a very important point, because a lot of companies, they think that your salary expectation is really high because you are considered overqualified. So with regard to salary expectation, you can openly say that you are aware that the salary for the job is lower than expected, and that you are okay with that. And preferably, you would explain this in your cover letter, because if it's not clear in the panel of recruiters, for the panel of recruiters, you run the risk of being cut off in the initial shortlisting, even before the interview. So you got to make sure that you make it clear in your cover letter that you are aware that the salary that they are offering may not be as the level that you expected. So they can read that and they understand and they are okay with that. But if you're called for an interview, be prepared to explain it again, probably in more detail. If you go to an interview, they might most certainly ask you, well, you've got all of these qualifications and experiences. Why are you subjecting yourself to a lower paid job? In general, the idea is to understand what the concerns employers they have about overqualified candidates, and face those concerns head to head, genuinely and proactively. So these are pretty much a couple of suggestions that I give to you. Make sure that you face the situation, you understand that the job that you're applying, this situation of being overqualified can happen, and you make it very clear. And two, you make it very clear in your cover letter that you are aware of that situation, and you are okay with a lower salary, and your expectation is to really enter in the Australian market, get experience, and grow with the company. So these are pretty much the information that I have today, guys. I really would like to emphasize those 5 items why companies, they might think that you could be considered as overqualified, because if you don't understand why companies, they consider you to be overqualified, it's really difficult for you to understand and work around in the reasons what you need to do to be able to tackle that issue there. So I really hope that you have enjoyed the content. If you're not subscribed to my website yet, please subscribe now to www.engineersinaustralia.com, and you will receive in your email inbox the notifications about my live sessions, the free workshop, and also about my mentoring program as well. And as I promised, my free ebook, 10 challenges that most overseas engineers they face when they arrive in Australia. I believe, I don't know if I can. Yeah. If you go to my Facebook and YouTube descriptions, it is in my video description, the link to download or to request your PDF version of my free ebook. I've got the free ebook in two versions. I've got the Portuguese version and English version as well. And if you have any question or if you have any particular question, you can probably, I think it's going to be difficult. I'll put my email here, admin at engineers, sorry guys, engineers in Australia.com. That's my email that you can send me an email with suggestions of new themes and new live sessions. And now going back to that first question that Guy Simões, he asked me the questions. I just go back there. He said in the beginning, he just moved to Australia 1 month ago. What are the first steps to validate his diploma as a mechanical engineer? Well, Guy, the first step is for you to download the Engineers Australia Migration Skills Assessment booklet. If you Google Migration Skills Assessment booklet, Engineers Australia, you will find, there's not the first link. The first link usually is the PDF, but that PDF, I think, is the old one. So you've got to go to the second result in Google, and then it will open the Engineers Australia website in the migration for migrants, and then there is open migration skills assessment booklet. So it's a PDF of 50 pages. That's really your first step, and then you need to read that booklet very, very well. If you are you from Brazil? Are you graduated in Brazil, Guy? Because depending on the country that you've graduated, there are a few different pathways that you can choose. So you can choose pathways according to obviously where you graduated. If you graduated in Australia, there's one pathway. If you graduated in some countries that are part of the International Engineering Alliance, it's a different pathways. Or if you graduated from countries that are not part of those alliances, then you've got to do a CDR, which is Competency Demonstration Report. Yes, so you graduated in Brazil. So if you graduated in Brazil, unfortunately, you got to do the CDR, which is Competency Demonstration Report pathway. And in the booklet, there is the 6 steps for you to follow. The booklet is very, very well written by Engineers Australia. You can follow the booklet. If you go to my bio in Instagram, you go to my bio, there's a link there. I think it's linktree/Gerson. When you click on that link, there's a series of buttons. There is one button that you can go to my YouTube channel. I've got more than 80 videos in my YouTube channel where I talk about and explain in a lot of details the step-by-step to validate your qualification in Australia. So if you go there, please subscribe to my channel. I think somebody sent a question. Yes, I've got a question. I'm trying to deal. Marie Novaes asking, is it possible to get a job in engineering during the student visa? That's a very good question, Mary. And I can say that it is possible. It is possible because I did it. So back in 2005, it was a little bit of engineering, and a little bit of project management, a little bit of business consultant. I was engaged part-time and working because I came here like you guys probably as international student, was studying. I was working at that time as a cleaner and etc. when I got this job. So I got my first professional job here was on an international student visa. I was working 20 hours a week, and I was delivering consultancy and training in business and project management. And I was engaged because of my civil engineering degree. The company that I worked for at that time had a contract about project management in construction, and my qualification was good for that. And at that time, I didn't have my qualification validated yet. I was in the process of doing that. I had started, I was trying to put together all the CDR and everything, and but I was working more like a consultant in project management, wasn't quite in the engineering field, was more like a project management consultant. So, but you can work and get a job as an international student. A hint that I give to you, Marie, is that those job seeker websites, they have certainly the notification function and put as part-time. Because if you're trying to apply for a full-time job and your visa allows you just to work part-time, you're probably not going to be selected. So I know that's a pain in the neck, but try to apply for just part-time jobs, temporary jobs or casual jobs, because when you apply for a permanent job, and I can tell you because we do this in the company that I work for, in some of company. And recruitment companies, they can be quite expensive. Normal process for a recruitment company, you will pay probably around $25,000. And if a company is willing to pay $25,000 to somebody for a few years, because you already paid $25,000, and apply for part-time jobs, and you will be able to at least have better chances to be selected for an interview. What happened with me, I was working 20 hours a week. I was demonstrating what I could be doing, and I'm going to put the link. If you want to register for the next one, the registration is free. You don't need to pay anything. Register VF5. So if you want to register yourself to the next one, and I don't know when the next one is going to be, but if I ended up having a lot of interested people for our next workshop, I might put together. It's a lot of time and a lot of work that I need to do to organize the workshop. I have partners, I invite people, not that I get any commissions, but I invite people to add information to the session. So if you're interested, I put in the comments in Instagram. I'm actually going to put in Facebook as well. If you're interested in registering for the next one, just fill in the form. You just need to put your email, and just finishing there, sorry guys. You just need to put your email there, and once you receive and you will receive an email just asking for confirmation of your confirm, touching that button. If you don't, registration is not going to be finalized. And hopefully I'll have a lot of interested people, and then I can promote another free workshop, perhaps, yeah, today is May already, perhaps June. So, sorry, Guy, Instagram doesn't allow links, but if you go to my bio, you click in that link tree / Gerson Ida, it will open a menu of a lot of buttons. I believe there is one called 11 days of engineering qualification workshop. After the live, give me about 10 or 15 minutes. If it's not there, I'm going to include in there so people can go there and register themselves to the workshop. And all right, so there's another another question here from Gustavo. So good arguments in case you are considered overqualified. I basically demonstrated that you're totally aware of the job role and task which will be required. Yeah, that's the thing, Gustavo, because you got to put yourself in the shoes of the recruitment agency or the person that's recruiting. So somebody reads your resume and then sees that you really have a lot of experience, you really have a lot of qualifications. If you were that person, you would think, why is this person applying to this lower paid job? So you got to make sure that when you write your cover letter, you explain that you are aware of that situation and you are okay with that. So Gustav also says, in addition to it, you should show a genuine interest to get into the Australian market and grow with the company. Yeah, that's correct. That's really, really correct. If you go to my YouTube channel, in the description of this live session in my YouTube, I actually copy a lot of this information that I spoke tonight. So YouTube allows you to put a lot of text in the description. So I actually put in the description there my script here that I prepared. Obviously, I got prepared to this live session. And so I copy and pasted my script and the information that I just shared with you in my YouTube channel in the description of this video. So if you're really interested in some of the details that I just spoke about, go to my YouTube channel. If you go to my bio in Instagram as well, you can find me the button with the YouTube channel in my link tree link, and then you can go to my YouTube channel, subscribe to it, hit like, and the information is in the description. And those in Facebook, if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, just search Gerson Ida and you will find my channel, and then subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get notifications when I publish new videos. As I said, I've got more than 80 videos in my YouTube channel, and you will find a lot of information. So if you don't have any other questions, I would like to thank you for your participation and your time on a Sunday, 7:45. And I will be holding these live sessions now Sundays, 7 p.m. every week. And if you have any particular suggestions, send it to me, and I'll be certainly more than happy to talk about a new themes. There's another, yeah, Marie, in another live, you could talk about your trajectory in Australia and about the work you developed here. Yes, that's certainly a good idea, Marie. I will have a great pleasure, because I can see yourself, or I can see myself in your shoes when I arrived here back in 2005 as an international student, working 20 hours, cleaner. 15 years ago, we didn't really have a lot of information, but that's a very good suggestion, Marie. Or maybe next week I'll talk about my trajectory in Australia and everything that I've been doing in this last 15 minutes. Thanks, John, for your comment. You're welcome. I hope and see ya. Bye bye.